spelt that wrong, haven't I? That's why it's come so low. 16,000, right, so we'll have that one, natural beekeeping. Good little point there, though, that came up. Beekeeping, because I missed out one of the E's, gave us a word that had no competition at all, so I might actually make a note of that, and there's clearly some searches for that. So we might have a, write a little article on that later and use that for our site. Okay, beekeeping for dummies, I like that. Let's have a look at that. 114. That's a little bit high, but I'd certainly put that down as a possibility. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to write down a list of these keywords, or you can export them down here. Oh, they've moved it. It used to be down there on the other one. But you can export these and save them as a CSV. Or you can just here download the whole lot, and that'll just stick them on your computer into a file that you can read in a Excel or another spreadsheet. And I think that's going to allow you just to download selected, so you could just go through and you could sorry, just clicked on one there, and you could get the whole spreadsheet of the words that you like the look of, and it would also you'd take a record of them monthly in local searches. And then you would be looking for, as I say, let's say we're looking for about 10 words that fit in our criteria of something under 10,000 searches a month and something around a bit less than 50,000 exact phrase match searches a month. Once we've got that list, we will then go on to the next stage. Okay, the next stage is that we're going to see if we can get any of our 10 keywords that have fitted in our range, see if we can get the domain name for any of those. Now, quite often you won't be able to, and so you'll have to add another word, which again we don't have time to go into here, but let's just have a quick look and see. I use one-on-one. Beekeeping. Let's make sure I've spelled that right. Sorry about that. Give it a second. Beekeeping.com is available now. That's lucky. What we would normally expect to find is, of your 10 chosen phrases, you may not be able to get any of them .com. You then have a look and see if you can get any of them with .org or .net, which is nearly as good in Google's eyes. And if you couldn't, then you might add an E to the front, so it'd be ebbkeeping.com or bbkeepinginfo or bbkeepingtips.com, something like that, and you'd add other words. But the first rule that we're really learning here is that if you can get an exact phrase match keyword phrase that you've searched in the way that we've just done, and you have the results for, and you can get the domain name of just those words on their own .com, then grab it with both hands, because it is by its very nature very heavily SEO optimized for your site. So if you're about to build a site on beekeeping, go and buy bbkeeping.com. That's my big tip for the day. Okay, we're going to just go back to the PowerPoint now. Okay, so we've done a bit of keyword research. We've had a look for a domain name using one of those particular key phrases, and we've found a domain name and we bought one. Now, our first step for SEO is that we will now take that keyword which has become our domain name, and we will do some posts and articles and pages on our site that use that keyword very strongly. Now, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you need to learn about that. I'm assuming that we'll probably be building a site in WordPress, and there's a whole bunch of things that you'd need to have in mind, which we haven't got time to cover in this video, and that the Dominating Google course will tell you all about, in fact. But in short, you would make sure that your permalink structure was correct, and that you've set up your plugins correctly. And then when you make a first post, or any post on that site, you will make sure that you get your on-page optimization as good as you can, and that means doing things like having your keywords near the at or near the start of the title of the post. So, for example, you would, one of our other words we looked at was natural beekeeping. So you might have a post that was natural beekeeping are top 10 tips, something like that. And the words natural beekeeping are as near to the root of the URL as possible. So on your site that would be beebeekeeping.com/natural beekeeping our top 10 tips. That would be what the URL would be, and Google likes that. So over time you would build a bunch of content that used your main keyword, and also the other keywords that you chose. Probably 60-70% of the time you'd be focusing on your main keyword, and in the posts themselves you would use that keyword once in the first paragraph. You might bold it or italicize it because Google likes that. You would mention it again in the content, but make sure that you write content that people can actually read and understand, so that you're writing good content for people so that they will want to come to your site rather than just stuffing it full of your keywords. And then you would use the meta tags on the page, which is very easy in WordPress. Again, we haven't got time to go into that in detail, but you would put those keywords in to your title tag, your description tag, and your keyword tags, and wherever possible, this H123 on the side here is telling us that you also have the option of putting header tags in your page and your post or on your site, however you do it, and essentially that means that Google will see them as significant subheading titles. Sorry if that all sounds a little bit woolly, but we just don't have the time to go into that in detail at this moment. Okay, so once you've got your site built and you know what your keywords are, the other major way that you are going to generate loads of free traffic is by giving Google what it wants. And what Google wants to see is that your site is considered to be good on the topic you're writing on, as in that it has good quality content and that it's an authority. And how Google and the other search engines currently do that is by looking at the number of links that come to your site and the what those links tell Google about your site, and they do that by using something called anchor text. Well, it's one of the things they do. Anchor text means that where a site links to yours, if they might just use the URL of your site, the address, to link back to your site, but they may use something which is called anchor text, which means that they will say, go and check out this site which has a fantastic post on natural beekeeping, and they will make the words natural beekeeping a hyperlink that goes back to your site. That then tells Google that your site has some information on it that is about natural beekeeping. And if over time your site ends up with a lot of links to it that are hyperlinked through the words natural beekeeping, and if those are particularly spread across the site, and if there are also other links into your site that use words that are related to natural beekeeping that are different, so that you have link diversity, then Google will decide that your site is an authority on natural beekeeping, and it will therefore rank you very, very highly. And that will mean that you will then get a lot of the traffic on Google that is searching for natural beekeeping will see your site high in the rankings on the SERPs, search engine result pages, and people will come to your site. You will then be able to convert them and make loads of money.